Baby, tell me what you like that.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Love Movement Podcast. We got a very, very special guest, the first African American female to be mayor of Broadview, Illinois. And she's doing her thing. I really appreciate it too. Kind of excited. But let's talk about the sponsors. Club 717. Thank you. Division Street Lounge in Melrose Park. Thank you. Blue Note and Gen Care. We appreciate your support and what we're trying to accomplish. And we just want to say thank you. Ladies, what we got for announcements? What's happening over the weekend or what?
You want to start or you going? Well, as we were talking about Village of Bellwood, they're going to be having the Taste of Bellwood Fest the following weekend. I'm sorry, not this weekend, but August 11th through the 13th. As you know, on the first day, which is that Friday, the park does not open until 6 o'clock. It'll be from 6 to 10. They're going to be having steppers with DJ Sam Chapman. Saturday is going to be 12 to 10, and Sunday it'll be 12 to 9. They're going to have food, vendors, plenty of entertainment, and rides for the kids. Awesome. So it's going to be pretty fun. Make sure you step out. Oh, nevertheless, Ladies Eat Goddess Accessories will be on the premises, as well as Mayor. She will have a booth up as well.
Okay.
Yeah. We're normally next to each other. So yeah, we be in competition.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you're looking for something grown and sexy to do, I have a friend that's having an all-black attire yacht party on the Anita D, September 24th. His name is Jay Honey. You can check him out on Facebook, Jay Honey, Honey.
All right, Jay.
Okay, nice.
Jay getting down.
924, all black.
Okay. There you go. What you got for us, Toya?
Well, my news isn't as exciting as that, but to talk about finances and what's going on in the financial market. So interest rates keep going up. They keep, a lot of it was stemming from, inflation. It was way too much money in circulation with COVID, and ultimately, we needed something to slow it down. For me, I know that my interest rate for my house was low, and at the point where I could refinance, I'm like, it's really not an option at this point because rates were as low as they ever have been a few years back with COVID. But now since, inflation is up, most things are tied to the real estate market. And unfortunately, that has caused interest rates to go high. So we've seen a slowdown with home ownership because people, just don't want to at this point purchase because the interest rates are so high. And I don't think that we'll get to the level that we were at with COVID rates as low as 2%, 2.25%. I don't think we'll get back to that point. And in that, actually, it's presume that we'll end up in a slight recession as we head into the latter part of this year. So more to come with regards to how the interest rates are going, what that means in terms of how the economy will perform. But yeah, so again, my news isn't as exciting as entertainment update.
But it's worthy news.
It's informative. Yeah, but see, one of the things that they were saying is that the market took a hit yesterday because the credit of the United States. Yeah, they we owe, trillions and trillions of dollars, and it's like, how do we get out of that?
This is a never-ending story. Honestly, this isn't the first time that we've took a hit. That we've taken a hit as it relates to the credit rating. It's not the first time that we've been made aware that we are in a deficit and we owe zillions of dollars. So I think that this is just one of those things, historically, when it's time to talk about the election and things like that, these types of things tend to be in the spotlight just simply because, there's an agenda and
oil prices always go up,
so I think this is just another wave that we're going to have to ride as we ride, as we've ridden all of the other waves that come about. So
Okay.
It's a rat. I ain't trying to rat.
I know that's right.
I mean, it happens. But I've been hearing something about Lizzo. What's happening with her?
I don't know all of the details, but it's alleged that she's being sued for harassment of hers by her staff. And if nothing else that I took from the story, what I gathered is that she wasn't pleasant to work for. And, a lot of what she portrayed to the public, that showed up in a different way behind the scenes with her staff, which is not uncommon, right? But again, I don't know the ins and outs, but on one side of the house, people are saying it's, these people are opportunists, but it's so many people saying the same thing that were connected to her.
One of the concerns I have is that they worked with her for a period of time.
Of
so
course.
if you didn't pick up on that vibe.
Well, what type of harassment?
Sexual harassment and intimidation.
Yes.
But they were saying body shaming. So I'm assuming she probably had some overweight dancers that she would get on them about their weight, things of that nature. So you gotta
a big girl.
When you say sexual harassment,
and then she hires the big girl. So,
but we don't know allegedly.
Exactly.
Because people get fired and laid off, and they don't hold themselves accountable. So who knows what was happening? Yeah. And you got. Artists are very serious about their craft.
Yes.
And you don't come with it, they let you go.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. So that's in any profession.
Yes.
Right.
I think especially working with women.
Yeah.
So it's rough.
If you're passionate
right here.
You surrounded by
that's it.
You Charlie's Angels. It's Charlie's Angels right now, Chris
Angels.
And that's so funny you say that. Little boy murdered this kid that was dancing to Beyonce. She's singing Charlie's Angel. That's her song. Charlie's Angels. How can you do that like that or something like that?
Yeah.
But this boy was dancing, and the kid come up and stabbed him, and it was they're claiming
there was
an
argument or something prior to that happening.
So what happened?
I don't know the full story, but of course anybody just walked up and stabbed nobody for dancing. But I think I believe he was arguing with another group of guys, straight guys, quote unquote, and they probably got offended. In such a way.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, that's still kind of sad. But is Beyonce in some kind of trouble? She got something going on with
No, I was gonna say with Lizzo, when you mentioned her, Beyonce has a song called "Break My Soul," and in the song she mentions Lizzo along with other female artists that she's paying homage to. And after the lawsuit, of course, Beyonce ended up dropping her name from the song during the concert.
Yep.
Beyonce don't play.
No.
Well,
she don't want to be associated with nothing negative.
No parts of it.
Yeah.
They couldn't beat Ed Sheeran though. Ed Sheeran had 73,000 people at Soldier Field. Beyonce and Taylor Swift didn't have them numbers.
Oh,
really? Okay.
But anyway, to get to something that I think is a political move, but 45 been indicted 3 times in the last 4 months. And today's indictment, they brought it on the news. And to me, I think he's playing a smart move because he could have zoomed in. He didn't have to go in. He could have had his fingerprints scanned from another location. But he said, hey, I'm going to use this as a political ploy. And he went in, and that's what he talked about today. How do you look at his position with these indictments?
So he's been going through this for a period of time, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about the indictments and you saying that he could have chose Zoom, I don't think he could have chose Zoom. He had to go. It was mandated by the judge. I'm assuming it would be. So I don't know all the facts with that, but that just don't make sense to me that he had an option. He was mandated to go.
Yeah, we'll see that. I mean, I'm just saying what they were saying on the news. Those reporters.
What's real, we're not in COVID no more.
Right.
And so a lot of the COVID restrictions have been uplifted. So what would make him different from you and I?
Okay. That's true. Okay. I mean, because he was the president and I wasn't. That's the only thing. But anyway, that's one of the topics. Now, in your position, and the mayor of Broadview, Illinois, and Broadview is on the way up.
Oh, thank you.
Broadview is on the way up. I see a lot of businesses. I see a lot of things that you're doing under your command, and I'm very impressed. But tell us, how did you get started into the political game?
Well, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was the executive director at the Broadview Park District and just started networking and connecting myself to people to touch the people and feel the needs of the community. And what that meant to me, not being a product of the Proviso Township or the state of Illinois, I just see things different than some of the locals. And I wanted to show something different. And I think I'm that person showing something different.
Oh, yeah, you're showing something different.
Sure.
You really are. That's that goes without a doubt. But you when you say show something different, what do you mean?
So I don't believe in being in cliques and going along to get along. I have my own process. I think for myself. I'm an independent thinker. And I'm glad that I was raised that way, to have my own thoughts and my own process and challenge people in their thoughts and processes. And there's nothing wrong with that. When we can agree to disagree, we can grow even bigger and better and stronger. I'm not the person that know it all or want to know it all, but I am a collaborator.
You got a good team.
And I have an excellent team.
You got a good team. I know some of your trustees, Judy, and a few of them, but
we have an all-female board.
Oh,
Okay. Was that by design or?
It just I just do what makes sense. And people that want to serve, and all of those people that serve with me, they want to do the work. They're not there for the title or the clout chasing or, being, isolating people. And they not like that. They are true servants.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's great. Well, I didn't know you had a female board. That's amazing. And you guys are doing some good work. Now, since you been mayor, you have a lot of projects that you've opened up. What's that one? Start from 9th Avenue and come all the way back.
So we have on 10th Avenue and Roosevelt, there's a new 16-unit housing project that's being developed now. That's a housing forward project. And that project is to house those that's aging out of DCFS. So those youth that's aged out of the program, sometimes they become homeless.
Transition home.
yes.
Transition home. And so it gives them an opportunity to have a place to live while they figure out what they need to do. It's a 2-year program. And I think they allocated 3 apartments for veterans.
Now, are you guys working with West 40 at all?
I'm a municipality, no.
Okay.
The school district does.
Okay, the school district does. And now we're going to keep going west.
Okay, so keep coming west. Then we got Viola, our first African-American cannabis in the village of Broadview. It's going to be opening their doors very, very soon. And then we have the Red Door. We have the View Restaurant. We have the Print Lab. We have Pamper Princess. We have an attorney, African-American woman attorney. And this month is Black Business Month. If those that you don't know that, it's Black Business Month. So go out and support local Black
I think
businesses.
that's something. I didn't know that.
Y'all go support the goddess
Yes.
accessories. Yeah. So now I heard you have a major project coming up.
Oh, that sounds major to me. But
I know. Well, what is it?
Do you have an Amazon coming into Broadview?
So Amazon did purchase property in Broadview. They are having we are having conversation exactly what it is that they want to put on the property, but it's 11 acres. And so we're just waiting on what move they're going to make, but they own the property.
Okay.
They have purchased.
Oh, okay. And that's a secret where it's at, where the property is?
No, so you know where Bosch is on 25th?
Okay.
It's that property. So Bosch moved and they bought Perlo Steel. And so they have all of that land. Also over there in that industrial corridor is, we have a cannabis craft grower.
Okay.
So we have we grow and we sell.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
Okay.
none of
Now
this.
that's
service.
funny because I was at the
Wow.
soft opening yesterday, and the young lady, the customer assistant, she was very knowledgeable about her product and how it's broken down as far as the marijuana and then the candy, what they call them, edibles. Yeah, and she
know
was
what they
very
call 'em.
knowledgeable in every.
Some of what they call
What they call
you
it?
know.
No, but anyway, she was very knowledgeable, and that was the start of walking in and this girl knowing her products, knowing how to talk, are those same people that's growing the weed going to be supplying them with the weed?
I don't get into business affairs of our local businesses, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know if they growing it. Can you go over there and buy it? Or you,
No.
Don't you go over there knocking on them people's door.
You can knock if you want to. Don't call me about the outcome.
Wee.
I know. Ooh-wee.
That-
I heard
At the police
some
station,
other
can
new
you come pick
businesses
me up?
were over there near the malls on 17th over there by what is it, Target and
Yeah. So we have Charlie's. It's a cheese
Charlie's,
stick.
yeah,
Oh,
something
it's
like
so good.
that's
It's a what?
and that's what I heard.
It's delicious.
It's a what?
It's a Charlie's. It's like a Philly cheesesteak. It's amazing. I had never heard of it, and I had that. If I had never heard of it, I know I hadn't eaten it, but I had over the last couple of days. The food is really, really good, and then we have Chick-fil-A that's coming.
Oh my
Chick-fil-A.
God,
In the
it just
Broadview
don't
Square.
stop.
So, and what is your goal? What is your goal for the Village of Broadview eventually?
My goal is to show people how to love and be kind. That's my ultimate goal. I mean, it's gonna do what it's gonna do as it relates to businesses coming, people moving in, people moving out. But if we can't show how to nurture and cultivate the humanity part of us all living in this space together, then my work was worthless.
What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of seeing all the young people that I've ever mentored have some success in their life. Like we have people that's high ranking at FedEx. We have presidents of school boards, military, high ranking officers in the military. And that makes me proud. But I'm super proud of my daughter, because she's been in this work with me for so long, and just to see the fruits of her labor, it makes me proud. It makes me proud to see young people actually doing the damn thing.
Yes.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great.
Now, since we talking a little politics, how does it affect the local villages for somebody like Brandon Johnson to win the mayor of the city of Chicago? Does that come out and affect you guys in any kind of way?
So the city of Chicago mayor is the region mayor. So
Okay.
the region of Chicagoland area. And so within that region is 256 mayors. But that mayor is the region for us. And so I know for me, I can't speak on behalf of the other mayors, but for me, I rely on that office to streamline best practices so that we can have some best practices for our own local government. They have access to a big staff where a lot of us don't. They have access to all of the talent. It may not appear that way, but they have the access to it. And if they can trickle down that to us, that helps us a lot when you talk about the region. So we kind of look to that leader for that leadership. Now, when we was in pandemic, the former mayor, she shared with us best practices, how to help our community through the pandemic. We weren't getting it from nowhere else. Till after later on, we got support, but firsthand, the Chicago mayor was out there with us every step of the way.
And that's interesting because I didn't know how that worked, how it I didn't know the effects of it. But since he's been in office, what do you think about his position, or is the jury still out?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't had any interaction with Mayor Johnson since he's been in office.
But you helped him get in there. I was
Absolutely.
at the fundraiser.
Absolutely. And I still stand behind him and I stand with them. You have to find your way when you get the seat.
Yes.
See, people always think it's all its glory to being a high level elected official until you get in that seat. You don't know what you're getting into. So he's been, I could imagine, because it happened for me, extremely busy because it was things that he probably didn't even think about happening. It's probably happening right now. So I'm standing with him to the end, 10 toes to the concrete.
Me too. I got him. I like him. I think
He's for the people.
Yeah, I think he's artistic and I think he's knowledgeable. And that's more than anything else. So you got job opportunities for the people?
When you say job opportunities,
Like
what are you
say
speaking
the
of?
village of the village of Broadview.
So the Village of Broadview, our opportunities on www.broadview-il.gov.
.gov.
Yes.
And then they could look up and see what you got open.
They can.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you're doing well. I really appreciate you coming out. But you got an announcement that you're trying to make too about your birthday. Tell us about that program, that project.
So I share a birthday with your co-host. August 31st is my birthday. And, I just been so blessed in abundance by God. I just can't even articulate in a conversation on what that really looked like for people to kind of feel what that is. So every year for my birthday, I celebrated collecting toiletries for women that's in addiction treatment centers or homeless shelters, so that we collect all of these because we want women to feel proud and feel pretty and feel like they're not left out. Because sometimes when you going through a struggle, and I have never been in the addiction or homeless, but going to visit these centers, you can see like the shame that's on their face. Or the embarrassment because they're in the situation. Last year, one lady, she was at a shelter for women that was battling addiction, and she was real open with me. She was a college graduate, social worker, and got addicted, got 3 kids, and left with nothing. I mean, she literally was at rock bottom there, there. And so I just do this just to give them hope that, we all have struggles. I don't care who you are. You could be in denial all day long if you want to be, but we all have some type of struggle. And if you're not showing love and kindness to people and to help them overcome that, what's your purpose?
Yeah.
Right. So I do that for
first event like that.
No, this is my 4th year.
Okay.
Now, where is it going to be?
So it's going to be on August 31st on my actual birthday. So I celebrated with the community.
Happy birthday to yeah.
And it's going at Schroeder Park from 6 to 8. So we'll have cake and ice cream.
Okay.
You bring toiletries to help out the women, and then we pack them up and we deliver it.
Now, what? How many women do you typically get at these?
So at this particular center, it's usually 12 to 15 women. I don't know what the capacity is now.
Okay.
But it's been 12 to 15 women. But we get an abundance of stuff, and so throughout the year, we getting toward the end to the holidays, and so people reach out. Do we have toothpaste? Do you have this to donate? And then in our police department, women that's on the run, I'm real big on domestic violence. So women that's on the run, sometimes they leave a situation with nothing but the clothes on their back. So we have backpacks filled with everything they need: underwear, deodorant, soap, notepads, gift cards. They can just get the backpack and keep going so they can get to the next destination.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah, but that's an awesome feel. I really, really appreciate it. And now, so when you had the last referendum, the referendum stated that you could run for mayor as long as you want to.
Who said that, Chris?
I don't know.
You be having the tea. He stay outside. They don't tell him who.
So tell me what the referendum was about, because I know people was fighting.
They was fighting themselves.
Right.
So the referendum, prior to me being elected, the former mayor, they put term limits on just only the mayor's seat. And at the time, I was against the term limits because it wasn't for the whole village board. That's not fair. But it passed, and so he got termed out. He served 2 terms. Then here comes Katrina Thompson. So now I'm in my 2nd term, and I decided to do a referendum to put term limits on all seats. So that's the mayor, the trustees, and the clerk. And each one of those seats can serve up to 16 years. That's 4 terms. I believe, people don't vote. And so people always say term limits are, you can end term limits by voting. But the reality of it is, and people just need to live in the truth, people don't vote, or they get so stuck with just voting for one person, knowing the person ain't doing their job, and they keep voting them in office. So term limits can eliminate that process. But if people just did their due diligence and go vote, do their own research, ask questions, participate in the process, it would be appreciated. But that's not the reality of it. This is our reality. We vote for the same people that's not doing nothing.
To the point that you just made, I read an article years ago about Maywood specifically, and it stated that roughly 28% of the population voted, and of that 28%, they were in a certain age group, basically the older generation of folks. What do you think that we can do in order to encourage and or get people more engaged with wanting to vote?
So we know our senior population is the bigger turnout. And that's just a historical fact. Now, when it comes to our younger population of voting, and they just don't believe in the process. And a lot of times it's because the families don't vote. So even like talking to my daughter, she's been voting since she was 18. When she went to college, she would fly home just to go vote. And the last couple of years, as she got into her junior and senior year in college, she started doing the mail-in ballot. That's just how important it was. And just instilling that in her, that even though your candidate may not win, it's still important to cast a vote on who you think will best serve where you are for your moral values, who's going to serve you for the things that you need to get done. But it's a conversation that we have to have. And the younger population, they just don't articulate like those that's, I'm going to say 50 and over.
Yeah.
They don't articulate conversations on like issues. They're not homeowners, so they don't participate in that. And if they are homeowners, you know, as long as everything is going, they can do what they want and go on. I asked my daughter the other day, I was like, well, you should start looking into, you know, investing in some property, you know, buy you a condo, do something, you know, small. And she was like, well, I don't think I want to love on something like that forever. Yeah. So you see, they mind different is different.
To my daughter about the same thing.
So she's just gonna rent an apartment. You know, she was like, if I get tired of this, I go into something else. But that's just how they think. So it's hard for us to tap into what they really want. And the other thing we don't do well with them is we don't listen. We quick to dictate and tell them what it used to be, what it is, and how we did things instead of just listening to them. And we change to accommodate. We have to come down to their level, and we don't do that as adults.
I had to learn that. Early this year. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a campaign where you go into the schools and you try to encourage the kids to vote? How does that work?
So I started the Broadview Young Scholars, and the Broadview Young Scholars, every year I have a big golf outing every year. I just had it last week. And the money that I raise, I adopt classrooms. So that allows me to give back to the students. And then those students you got to start, really it should be younger, but I start at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So we're going to the classroom, we talk about the local politics, like how you vote for a mayor or a trustee or the clerk. We talk about our local government and get them engaged. And we have them come down to Village Hall to spend some time with us, like on half a days. They come down to Village Hall, they get to come see me in action, or they get to see me in the community, get to go with me where I welcome new residents to the community on what the work is really about. You know, is this something you want to do? Are you game for this? We have our summer youth program where we hire youth between the ages of 14 and 16 because we know for a fact that we don't employ 14 to 16-year-olds. They changed it to now you can only get jobs at 16 to 24. Mm-hmm. So we changed that for Broadview. We actually have 14 and 16-year-olds working for us during the summertime. So they work 4 days, and then on Fridays, we mentor them. And we have different topics like mental health, how to be a good citizen. You know, some of them work in my office. Those that work in my office, they get to go to business meeting with me, sit on Zoom calls. They get to see what I do every single day. And then they get to challenge us to say, this is what we should be doing. Mayor, we should be doing this. And so we will do that just to show them that their voice matter. It may not make sense, but their voice do matter. Mm-hmm. And so we want them to have a seat at the table. And that's what we don't do enough. We just want to have them volunteer for us for credits, but not really nothing more than that. And it's bigger than that.
Make them feel empowered.
Yeah, you got to.
That's the only way you can survive. I mean, being a police officer on the street, a 14-year-old kid, if I have a interaction, hey, sir, how are you doing? I empowered him. I then gave him a title.
Yeah.
He feels like a sir. And that's an awesome thing that you guys are doing, especially with the kids. Now out there, I mentioned this a little bit, and you asked me what would the solution be. How do you feel about acknowledging, especially in the inner city, where there's more gang affiliated people? I think that they're part of the community. And they need to be embraced as well.
They are.
What would you suggest to the rest of the villages and the inner city how to go about embracing them?
So I grew up in Inglewood, California. I grew up in the hood too. And the block that I grew up on was a heroin block. And my brother was in gangs. But my mother embraced them. Like they hung out on our front porch. They wasn't a nuisance to our block. when they left the block, I don't know what they did, but she embraced them. That's where the love and kindness come from my mother. She practiced that every single day. She is the strongest woman I know to practice love and kindness, no matter what nobody do to you. And so you're right, they are a part of our community, and we have to acknowledge that. We can't be afraid of it. But the other side of that is we also have to acknowledge that they are not allowed to sell dope on our block. And
Accountability.
And so when we allow that misbehavior, we send the wrong message. And, everything don't deserve to be locked up. I can say that. But we can't condone the wrong. It's wrong. And just look, like I said,
it's against the law.
Yeah, it's against the law. But it's against the law, but it's not right when you putting fear in somebody else. They can't call the police on you, or you might get property damage. So but that's wrong. That's the wrong. It's not the against the law part. It's two parts to that. You can't, if I call the police on you and then you come bust out my windows, that's wrong. Make it make sense.
Right.
So it's not that we trying to incarcerate everyone, but parents, grandparents, aunties, or caretakers, they got to step up to the plate too. Kids, I grew up, I was afraid of my mother. Kids nowadays, they ain't afraid of nothing.
Right.
Not even you, the police.
Right. It was it was back then too. But see, what I did is what I would try to do is that if we had a problem in the neighborhood and it was a consistent problem, I know who the players were. So I went to the top gun. Now you're going to have a problem out of me real bad if this other problem don't stop. So we kind of use that tactic in some cases, but letting them know it's wrong. But at the end of the day, the reality of it, we don't make fentanyl.
But who's the top guns now? Because the leaders of the gangs ain't the same like they was back then.
It's a different program because now it's about money.
So, but okay, so who is that person?
That you'll know how the chain move when you on those streets. That's
true.
We knew how the chain moved because I was on those streets with that chain. And if that neighborhood had a rash of burglaries or garage or whatever the case might be, we want to find out who that is. So I'm gonna go to you. And that's your job to shut that down.
So why you can't do that today?
Because it's a different ball game.
So what's the solution?
I don't know what the solution is.
That's the issue.
What it is that you have to embrace them and acknowledge.
You do.
And then that way you can move more. But Mayor, you're a beast, man. Y'all heard it for yourself. Y'all heard all the knowledge. Y'all heard her program. Y'all heard her constitution, what she believes in. And y'all heard her talk about her mother. And me and her mother, her husband, we best friends. Pokey.
That's my dad.
Yeah. And man, I'm just so proud of you, and you're an inspiration to these young ladies. And
thank you.
You got an all-women board, and you're still doing positive things. You don't let that stop you. You don't let the outside people stop you, and I appreciate that. So don't forget to go to her birthday celebration and bring some toiletries.
Yes.
August 31st, 6 to 8. Am I correct?
That's correct.
6 to 8. And also don't forget the house picnic, Winfield Scott. Saturday, Kim Lightford has her Brookfield Zoo.
14th annual.
14th annual on Sunday.
Yes.
Bellwood Fest this weekend.
No, next weekend.
Next weekend. Yeah, next weekend. 11th through the 13th.
Just ready to party.
Yeah, and then we got the Pirates supposed to be going to Mexico 2024.
I saw that.
And Memorial Day weekend. And my son Sterling, he has his basketball camp and his festival. The 10th through the 13th. The festival is on the 13th. They're going to have everything for the kids in the park because a lot of kids don't go to the Bellwood Fest. So he's going to do something at Proviso West High School.
Oh, nice.
10th through the 13th. Y'all write it up. I remember, I'm going to tell you this quick story. One year he had a basketball tournament over there, and it was raining. And I got a chance to see these kids, that group that she's talking about that they hire 14 to 16 years old. And they were, man, you should have seen them working. Okay, they were working. They were taking that water. They had the squeegees. And it just kind of fired me up. So I had to film them. And I filmed them and I posted it. and people they receptive. See, because I like kids, and I like their style. I like the stuff that they know, because we didn't do that stuff when I was coming up. Who had a cell phone? We had the brick phone. Now these kids making movies with these cell phones. So you have to acknowledge, where they are and how they're doing.
Yes.
And Mayor, I want to thank you so much, but leave us some words of wisdom for the young ladies out there.
Just be polished, embrace who you are, living the truth every single day, and don't go along to get along, even if it don't feel good. And a lot of times I'm uncomfortable, but being uncomfortable will make you comfortable in your right. So just keep being who you are. Be you, because nobody can be you but you.
Hey. Sure. Well, listen, from the Love Movement Podcast, Toya Capri, Lady Z, Chris Brown, the Musty Man. We want to thank everybody for coming out. And all we ask you to do is treat people right and never give up.
That's right.
Good night.
Good night.
Just got dressed, need something to get into. Pretty girl on deck, she just wanna have fun too. She know how to roll one, if I need her to come through. Turn up, we best friends. Bought you, we follow, she want to. A female version of myself, couldn't be with nobody else.